I was.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Pence just finished 30 years.
Really?
She taught art for 15
Very soon.
Yeah.
Have a good talk.
Yeah, right. That way.
I'll take this back.
I'm sorry, yes. Go. Okay. What's that?
Hi, can I get a picture of you? Thank you so much. I did. Thank you so much. Oh no. Or are y'all trying to say goodbye?
Oh, we have sun movement here.
Yeah, we do. You want to push it to the left a little? You can get him right here. Yeah.
Welcome back to Tuscaloosa.
What is? Hi guys, great to be with you. Thanks for coming out. I'm looking so forward tonight to doing an event with the Young America's Foundation here at University of Alabama. We've had a great afternoon touring the campus. I had the opportunity to spend some time with students, including some of the folks that are about to graduate. And every time I'm on campuses across the country, as I've sought to do over the last 2 years, I'm inspired by this rising generation. And the opportunity tonight to come and talk about the principles of freedom with young people here on the campus of University of Alabama is a great privilege for me. In so many ways, our nation's facing great challenges today at home and abroad, but I really do believe this freedom generation that'll be gathered here tonight and that I've spoken to in campuses across the country holds the keys for a boundless American future. So I'm excited to be here, and roll tide. I'm ready for your questions.
Vice President, you've been asked this a few times over the past few months. Are you planning to run for president?
You know, we're giving prayerful consideration to that as a family. I don't have any announcements today, but we've gotten a lot of encouragement around the country, and I think people reflect on our experience, not just as vice president, but as a governor in Indiana, as a leader in the Congress. They look at what we were able to do in those Trump-Pence years to revive our economy, secure our border, rebuild our military, appoint conservatives to our courts, and I think the American people want to get back to those policies once again. But I truly do believe this is a moment when all of us need to be prepared to do all that we can to set our country back on a path of prosperity and security that really defined those early years of the Trump-Pence administration. And we're going to make a decision in the coming month or so about what role we might play.
If you do plan to run, what will set you apart from the other potential candidates?
Well, I I think if we offered our candidacy to the American people, it would, what we would seek to bring is not only our experience as a proven conservative. From my time in Congress and as governor and as vice president, I've always been about the same things, about a strong defense, about limited government, about free market economics, about traditional values. But I hope people will also look at us in a way that they might see an opportunity for us to change the tone of politics. I'm somebody that believes that democracy depends on heavy doses of civility. And in recent years, in both political parties, frankly, we've entered into a season of contentiousness that's made it less possible for us to solve some of the large, intractable problems facing the country. And so if we choose to move forward, I hope people would not only look at who we are, but how we sought to carry ourselves over the course of our career and what our brand of leadership has meant to the people of our state and during our service to the nation.
Sir, what are your thoughts on the intelligence leak on discord regarding the Ukrainian war?
Well, I think it's very disconcerting that there may have been leaks of Pentagon documents pertaining to the Ukraine war, particularly pertaining to air defenses of the Ukrainian military. That would ultimately compromise the ability of the Ukrainian military to move forward. And I'm grateful that the Pentagon is currently assessing whether or not those documents are in fact legitimate. Then they can do what's called a damage assessment about those materials. But there's no question that those materials that have made their way onto the internet, particularly pertaining the raging and unprovoked Russian invasion in Ukraine, are deeply concerning and should be to every American who wants to see the people of Ukraine prevail in reasserting their sovereignty and their freedom.
Sir, your opponent is investigating the woke left. Can you define the woke left for me?
Well, I do believe in America today that freedom is under assault as never before. Not so much on the campus of the University of Alabama, but oftentimes in campuses and in corporate boardrooms around America. There's been an effort to suppress voices that cherish traditional values, people that will hold up traditional conservative views and to use the opportunity in academia or in the corporate America to advance a liberal social agenda. That comes to be known as the woke movement in this country. And I'm somebody that simply believes in freedom. I believe that every American has the God-given right enshrined in our Constitution to live, to work, to worship according to the dictates of their conscience. And tonight I'll be encouraging the rising generation here at the University of Alabama to stand tall for their values, speak up, and that's really the antidote to woke America.
Sir, how would you address the gun violence in America right now?
Well, my heart goes out to the employees and the families of those who lost their life in Louisville, Kentucky, as well as the recent tragic circumstances in Nashville and elsewhere. But I think the time has come in our country for us to move past the tired arguments over the Second Amendment and move toward real solutions. While the assailants in both the incident in Nashville and in Louisville were both taken down at those shootings, I do believe that the notion that someone could engage in a mass shooting and only face justice in 15 or 20 years it's deeply offensive to millions of Americans. I mean, justice delayed is justice denied. And for my part, recently I called for federal legislation in mass shootings that would not only include the death penalty, but it would include expedited appeals so that individuals that engage in mass shootings and are convicted can go through the process of not only a trial, but also appeal, but also meet that justice in real time before the American people. I think we've got to have a greater deterrent in the laws of this country to people engaging in these kind of mass shootings that we've seen far too many of. Secondly, I will tell you, I think we've got to get a lot more serious in this country about institutional mental health care. I mean, one of my last acts as governor of Indiana is we broke ground on the first mental health hospital to be built in our state in 25 years. And I truly do believe that it's time that we recreated the institutions that have gone by the boards over the last 30 years in this country, so that families that are dealing with a loved one who's demonstrating mental illness or a propensity toward violence have a place to go rather than the county lockup, which too often now people that are evidencing threatening behavior or making menacing statements, the only place they can go is the county lockup, and then for a short period of time, and they're back on the street. So I really do believe that as a country we've got to get more serious about ensuring that justice in these cases is swift and certain, and those assailants who engage in these type of acts understand that they will meet justice quickly. But also I believe in America we've got to get more serious about institutional mental health care. At the end of the day, we must recognize that the right of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. And I'll stand on that principle as something that adheres to the very founding of our country. But I believe that we need to be more aggressive about dealing with mass shootings and with this gun violence, and I'll look to be a voice for those solutions.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Election, will you testify against President Trump if called upon?
We made it clear the subpoena that we received, I believed was not only unprecedented, but it was unconstitutional. We challenged that in court, and the trial judge confirmed that the Constitution's protections on speech and debate, for the first time ever, do apply to the Vice President of the United States. And we've made a decision not to appeal that decision, so we'll comply with the balance of the court's order. But I do know that the President has also appealed a decision on separate grounds of executive privilege, and so we'll be respectful of that process. But at the end of the day, I have nothing to hide. I've told the story not only in countless interviews, but even in my own memoir about the days leading up to that tragic day in January of 2021 and the days that followed. And we'll certainly tell our story in a manner consistent with the law at the appropriate time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.